but it actually turned out to be a really valuable skill that I learned from English teaching. It gave me a little confidence that I can actually use in my current job in social media.
One of the older Japanese ladies was like, huh? You want a kotatsu?
So welcome on our podcast. It's called Honne, le Japon sans détour. And we welcome people living in Japan or Japanese people to talk about their everyday life, a little bit far of the stereotypes. And I think you're already doing it very well on your social media. So today I'm very excited to having you because we share sort of the same job. And can I let you introduce yourself first?
I'll go first. My name is Kree. I've been living in Japan for about 5 years. I am from America, a little known state, Ohio. Or maybe not a little known, kind of boring though. And I do social media for myself at Honne Kree. I also do social media with Pupa. Amber?
Hi, my name is Amber. I'm Kree's coworker. I have my own social media channel called AmberRose_O, where I make off the beaten path Japan travel videos. I've been living in Japan for about 4 years, but I've only been in Tokyo for 1 year. Before that, I lived in Kyoto. Before that, I lived in Kochi. And yeah, anything else about me? I think that's it.
Where are you originally from, Amber?
I'm originally from the US, from New York.
Thank you very much. I have so many questions, so we can talk
yay.
a lot about you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. My first question is, how come you decided to come to Japan?
Mine is kind of an I don't know, weird story. I was originally a chef. I went to culinary school. And when I was in culinary school, I learned a lot about Japanese ingredients. And I had a Japanese chef instructor who kind of inspired me a lot. And so I was like really interested in traveling to Japan because I was like, I should know like the country where these ingredients come from that I love and use every day. So I traveled here just on a tourist visa and I loved it so much. So I started studying Japanese. That became my hobby and I wanted to get better at it. So I just moved here. I was planning on doing it for just like a year, teaching English. That was the easiest way that we can get a visa as Americans. But I just loved it so much that I never left. So 4 years later, here we are.
So nice.
So my story starts a little bit earlier. I originally became interested in Japan because my grandma had a bunch of Japanese exchange students when I was really young.
Nice.
And that kind of like got me interested in the culture and like they got along with me really well. So they showed me like manga and they like showed me how to write my name in Japanese and it was really nice. And then like I kind of forgot about that and went to school for engineering.
Okay.
And yeah, I think like when I was doing engineering, I realized, ooh, I don't think I want to do this for my whole life. Like, And then I was just like thinking about like, what could I do instead? And then, I don't know, I just remembered like when I was younger, I always liked Japan and I always wanted to really come here. So I was like, I'm going to try that. I saw like an ad for like an English teaching in Japan and I went and tried that.
It's very nice. So when you started, you didn't know you wanted to stay that long either, right?
No, I only thought I was going to stay a year.
Okay, a year. And then you loved it so much that you wanted to stay?
Yeah, same.
Okay. So you both started working as English teacher. How was it as a first experience in Japan?
I actually had a really good experience. I know you hear a lot of horror stories about teaching English in Japan. I don't know if you guys have heard, but personally, I had a really good experience. I really enjoyed it. It was very different from what my original career was as a chef. And I was really shy at first, so it was a little hard for me to get used to standing in front of a classroom and like talking to people. But it actually turned out to be a really valuable skill that I learned from English teaching. It gave me a little confidence that I can actually use in my current job in social media. And I was doing it in the countryside in Kochi, so it was really nice. I got to like connect with the students. I was teaching adults, so they like showed me around the city. And yeah, I think it was a really good foot in the door into Japan. I really recommend it for any like native English speakers who want to move to Japan because other than that, it can be difficult to get a visa.
Right.
For us, we don't have the working holiday visa in the US. And Kree, how was it?
How was it? It was great.
It was great.
Yeah, the school that I started with was a very small Ikawa school, which basically is like a private school for after school and weekends.
Okay.
And I really loved it. My boss was awesome. He's just like so helpful with everything and like reading all the forms that I need to get done and like taking me to like all the places to get my bank account set up. Like they were just so helpful to school, and they really like made sure that I was kind of in the culture. I joined one of their awa odori dances.
Ah, nice.
So it was just like a really good experience culturally. Ended up being there for 4 years.
Oh.
3 years as a teacher and then 1 year as a head teacher before I started my current job.
Really nice. Okay, so it's good first step into Japan, right?
Yeah.
It's nice. And then how come you decided to change?
So for me, I really wanted to learn Japanese. That's why I originally moved here. And as an English teacher, you're not allowed to speak Japanese while you're working for 8 hours a day. So I didn't really have a chance to speak Japanese or practice Japanese. And I was so tired after work. So after my 1-year contract was up, I decided to move to Kyoto. And I went to a Japanese language school there for a year and a half. And then after that, what did I do? And then I got this job. So that's why I moved to Tokyo.
For me, I watched a lot of YouTubers. Like a lot of like the OG J vloggers. Like I really liked Rachel and June and like, what was it? Like a bunch of them. Texan in Tokyo, I guess they're kind of old now. But basically, I just really liked a lot of the J vloggers back then. And while I was in Japan, I'm like, if I'm here, might as well make videos. And so then I kind of started like making videos, and especially after COVID hit, like I had nothing to do. So I was like, I want to share what I'm doing with my family and friends. So that's why I started social media. And then after I kind of started that, like I wanted to do more social media and like make friends in it. And I actually reached out to Amber. So that's how we met, is I
online?
sent her a DM on Instagram, and I was like, hey, I'm in Osaka.
Nice.
Let's hang out. I can't remember exactly what I said.
Hang out.
Looks fun. So you had already had social media and already doing videos, and then you find her?
Yeah. So I found her through her social media. So how did you get started with the social media, though?
Right.
Back during COVID, I was living in New York, and my company that I was working at the time, it went under. I was working as a chef in the food department of a startup. And the startup just like could not financially handle COVID, so they went under. And even though it was like a really horrible thing, there was also a silver lining, whereas because I was let go, I got like social insurance, like income from the government. So I had this free time and income. So I decided to make YouTube videos about cooking because I didn't want to lose my cooking skill. And I also wanted to practice Japanese, so I was making them in Japanese.
Nice.
Those videos are not available now because they're so embarrassing. I thought I was much better at Japanese than I was.
You have to start somewhere.
And that's how I started it, and then I continued it when I moved to Japan. But I had a really tiny, horrible kitchen in my apartment, so I didn't really have a lot of inspiration to cook anymore. And so my YouTube channel just became me making videos of whatever I was doing, which was mostly traveling, because I love traveling throughout the country. That's kind of my hobby. So yeah.
Nice. You don't want to go back to being a chef in the future?
No, I don't think I do. Maybe I would make YouTube videos about food again, but I really love my job in social media, so I think I want to continue doing that.
I think it can tell for both of us that on the video you seem to enjoy a lot.
Oh wow, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
No, I really appreciate your videos. And one thing I really like is the fact that it feels like you really live here and you're really integrated, and it's not just typical things we could go or typical tips. It's really, you have very interesting things to say.
I try to show like lesser known parts of Japan because that's what I really like about Japan.
And then I have a question about your current job. People who don't know what you are doing, can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so we work for an e-commerce company. So they sell Japanese goods online, and they have a YouTube, TikTok, Instagram channel, and like all the social media. I make the long form YouTube videos, and Kree makes the short form videos.
TikTok.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like the face of the YouTube channel, and so is Kree. So like if you see the channel, it looks like it's our channel, but it's really not.
I see.
Yeah.
And how much people is there in the company?
It's a really small
Are there-
company. We have about 20 people.
Okay.
And it's fully remote, so everyone's in different countries. There's only 5 people in the Japan team.
Oh, wow. Only social media?
The social media team is only 5 people.
Okay.
No, is it less than that? Is it?
So the social media team is three people, right? It's me, you, and Santi.
Yeah, I
And
guess
then there's our boss, but he's not part of the social media team. And then there's Sarah. Sarah's job isn't really the social
She
media
helps,
team.
though.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's
3 in
helpful.
total.
Yeah.
But the other 2 do like, I think, more the business side, right? Only 3.
Okay.
Very small.
So it's pretty much like us, I think. Yeah. Did you had sort of a training, or how do you mentally prepare? Because I know for me, it's not easy to get filmed and feel confident. Do you have any tips?
I got 0 training.
That's the tips.
This was a fully new role, so there was no one before me. I was the first person in this role, so we kind of like were figuring it out as we were going. But as for like presenting on social media and stuff, I just had a lot of practice from my own YouTube channel. So I was, if you look all the way back to my like first videos, I'm very like awkward. I like am naturally an introvert and really shy. So it really was hard for me to like start presenting as like confident and extroverted. But just doing it again and again and again, you just kind of get used to it and you get over fear. I think you really have to like not care what people think about you.
Yeah.
You kind of have the mindset that if you get hate comments, that means you've made it. So that's true. Like, yeah, I think there was one, like, it was a really corny saying, but there was some influencers who said something like, even if you're the juiciest peach on the tree, there's always going to be someone who doesn't like peaches. So, like, having that in mind, I was like, okay, like, I don't care what people think of me.
That's
This is going to be
true.
cringe. Just dive headfirst into the cringe and don't worry about it, because if you don't do it, then you might regret it. And if you do it, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, your high school friends are going to be like, oh, so lame. Like, so, yeah, that was my advice. What about you?
My advice and my experience. Well, when I started the company, I had Amber so nicely kind of train me. It was kind of training. I came over to her house and she showed me how to do a lot of the editing and stuff. But before that, I actually was doing social media for maybe 3 years at that point. So like I already had my own YouTube and stuff. And yeah, like the first few videos, they were cringe. But like you can't start making videos and they be perfect.
Of course.
Actually, like anything you start, it's not going to be perfect the first time you do it. It's going to be, pardon my language, but it's going to be shit the first time you do it. And then you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And it gets better every time. So
Right.
as long as you have that mindset, I think it's easier or it gets easier.
It's very, very reassuring for anyone who is new in this and wants to try video and doesn't know how to start.
Yeah.
You just have to start, right?
Yeah, that's really the best advice, I think. Just dive in head first.
Yeah, and anyone who's doing this seriously would never like judge you for trying, right? Only people who don't do it usually judge really harshly.
That's so true. And as long as you enjoy, I think. So you have your work social media, your own social media, and how do you manage to find new ideas all the time?
I think it's easier because my stuff is very different than my work stuff. And so because it's different in nature, it's easier. Also, like when you start social media, right, you kind of start knowing what videos do better. And if you like kind of think of them as like your core videos and then like build off of those ones, then it's like easier. I don't know if that makes sense, but like basically like you post 10 videos. 2 of them do really well, then like, okay, so now you gotta base your future ideas off of these 2.
Yeah.
And then it keeps like going up and up and up.
My work social media is very different than my personal social media. So for work, for the e-commerce site, it sells like, what do you call it? Like kawaii
like
things.
cute,
Like
Japan,
Sanrio,
kawaii,
pop culture stuff. And that's actually not actually my real interest.
Okay.
So I have to like,
filling the tea.
I'm kind of performing in my work social
Okay.
media, whereas my social media is my actual creative outlet where you can see kind of my real self. So it's very, it's maybe similar to Kree. It's really separate for me. A nerd, but a different kind of nerd than a Sanrio nerd. I do love it though. I've come to really like and appreciate it since working for the company. But I'm not as much of a Sanrio's otaku as the channel might show.
Good.
But coming up with ideas, I feel like I don't ever run out of ideas. There's so much going on here. I have so many ideas. I feel like I don't have enough time to like make them into real. I think Japan is just like a content bomb. There's so much to film here, especially if you're traveling all the time like I do. There's just a lot to film all the time.
I agree. It's a question that I get asked often, but yeah, right. You have your ideas and you have so many things to do, and then you can reuse the content you've already done. So I agree. I have another one, which is you do your own social media and you do the work with social media. And as you said, the problem is time, right? How did you get organized? I'm so impressed because what we do at work is already a lot of time consuming. And I wish I could develop also my own social media, but it's so hard, I think. It's fine. Are you okay?
No, we're not okay.
We're not okay.
But it is difficult. Yeah. I don't personally feel like I have enough time to do exactly everything I want to for my own channel. Work is 8 hours a day. That takes up most of the day. It is a challenge. I'm trying to figure out how I can be more consistent right now. I'm not doing a good job of it.
You are doing a good job.
No. I would like ideally I would like to be posting once a week consistently on YouTube, but it's not
It's really hard. It's really a full-time job, sort of, right?
Full-time job. Yeah. It is. What about you?
Well, I do 3 videos a week on my shorts channel, so it's not
amazing.
So intensive, I feel. Yeah, because I'll batch film, right? So I'll go out and I'll film maybe 4 or 5 videos in one day. And then editing usually doesn't take too much time now because I'm kind of used to it. And I have I know exactly what I do for titles and what I do for like pop-ups and things like that. Editing will take maybe like an hour or 2, depending on like the video.
I think the distinction is I make long form videos.
Of course.
I make shorts. So so that's a big distinction.
It's good to precise for people.
I do make short form videos as well, but I take like 3 hours to edit.
We take a little bit more than that, so it's amazing.
I've been doing shorts for consistently like 5 shorts a week for a year now. And so like you
get used to it.
Yeah, and you have just like saved presets and things like that. So it makes the editing process really quick. So, and then also if I'm using the mic, it cuts down so much.
You're right. I have a little game now.
Ooh,
It's very famous. I think it's this or that. I give you 2 answers and you have to choose one or the other. Tokyo or Japanese countryside?
Tokyo.
Countryside.
Karaoke or Matsuri?
Ooh, Matsuri.
Matsuri.
Ghibli or Sanrio?
Ghibli.
And then Family Mart, Lawson or 7-Eleven?
Ooh, the real questions are coming out. Family Mart.
Oh my gosh, I have a hard time with this. I feel like it changes depending on the season of my life. Like Lawson used to be my favorite because I had a Lawson near my house and it was just convenient. Now probably Family Mart because of the socks.
Family Mart for the win.
Oh, the socks.
The socks are really comfortable.
They also have good fried chicken.
Kyoto or Osaka?
Oh,
Kyoto, easy.
Osaka.
Ooh.
What about natto or fugu? Fish.
I've never had fugu, but natto's a no for me. So fugu.
I would say natto. I don't like either, but I feel like I could do both, but I choose natto.
And last one, living in the US or living in Tokyo?
Tokyo.
Perfect. Yeah. We are going to another part. It's about the everyday life and how you integrate in Japan. Okay. So when you arrived, did you have an image of Japanese? And did you feel like this image kind of changed by living here?
I think one thing that did surprise me a bit is I kind of had an image that all Japanese people were shy.
Yeah.
But after coming here, like obviously there's shy people and not shy people. There's tons of loud people in Osaka. I lived in Osaka for like 6 months and there's a lot of crazy people out there.
That's what I heard.
Like in a good way. But yeah, I think that was one thing I was like, oh yeah.
I traveled here twice beforehand, so I feel like I had a good idea of what it was like. I was also watching, again, a lot of YouTube that kind of prepared me. So I wasn't really... I don't think my expectations were changed.
Yeah, when I came here, it was my first time. So like when I moved here, that was like my first time in Japan.
God.
I was like 23 years in Ohio, in the countryside. Now let's move to Tokyo. No preparation. I was just like tired of all the cornfields. I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Nice.
She says I have a countryside draw a little bit that sometimes comes out.
But I think as friends, we don't see much the difference. So
Really?
it's really hard for me to get accent.
It is hard.
Like you, I traveled a lot before, and probably 2 years. And I still don't know how to answer to this question, but it can be hard to make friends in Japan. What do you think about it? Did you manage to do it?
Yeah, this is a good question. I feel like I actually made a whole YouTube video on this.
Yes.
Amber, the expert, actually.
Not an expert. So it is a little hard to make friends at first. I think, but I wonder if this is a Japan thing or if just like moving to a new city thing. So I feel like it takes like a good year before you have a solid group of friends who like you really click with. And for me, when I kept moving every year. So I went from Kochi to Kyoto. And as soon as I felt like I had my friends, I had to start over. So it was really difficult to start over every time. But I kind of became an expert at it. So my advice is to do things that you like your hobbies and stuff. For example, I liked tea a lot, and I joined a tea club in Kyoto, and then I was surrounded by people who also all liked tea, so we had like the same interests and we became like really good friends. There's apps like Meetup where you can like join a meetup that's based on your interests. So I like hiking, so sometimes I join hiking meetups, and then like I meet other people who like hiking, and then there's usually people, it's very mixed, like you'll meet foreigners and Japanese people, so in the meetup groups. Another good way is just by making content, because that's how I make all my friends now is through Instagram. Like I see other people living in Tokyo. I live here too. We have stuff in common. Let's hang out. And then like me and Kree.
Yeah.
And then you become friends like that. So I think that's kind of a good way. Yeah. Instagram, Meetup, just joining clubs and stuff, whatever you're into.
Sure. I also message like anybody who I think I'm like, oh, we could probably get along. Like I like their video or something. And I message them like, hey, what's up? Let's be friends. And a lot of my friends I meet through there, but also I make a lot of friends through work. Like I've had a work best friend at almost all of my jobs. So like a lot of times it's just like connecting with people after work and like going to the extra things so that you can actually like get close with your coworkers. I think that can be really good, especially when making Japanese friends, because Japanese, in my experience, a lot of Japanese people are hard. Like Americans, we will meet and we'll like a lot of times just like go out. Like we don't schedule it as much. We're just like, oh, I'm free this Friday. Let's go here. Whereas I feel like when I'm talking to my Japanese friends, they're like, I have one day free in like 2 months.
Right.
On this specific day, at this specific time, at this specific place, let's go. Which is fine, but like closer relationships with Japanese people, I've mostly found that through work.
I feel like there's another layer of difficulty in making friends when you're in Tokyo. I found it much easier to make friends in Kyoto and Kochi. It's just because of the physical distance between everything. I'll meet someone I like and they're like 1 hour away. Or even if they're only 30 minutes away on the train, by the time you like walk to the train, wait for the train, ride the train, walk to wherever you're meeting, it's an hour. There's a lot of like effort that it takes to like meet up. So like, you know, those days when you like have a plan on the calendar and like you're tired. Yeah. So I think it's a big city problem. It was much easier to make friends in Kyoto, much less. Everyone had a bicycle. You can ride your bike anywhere, and the city's so small, so like you can everything's within biking distance. Everyone is in biking distance.
It's a good point of view. Yeah, I felt the same thing. I have a group of Japanese friends and we met like 3-4 times a year is already good, right?
Yeah, that's normal.
Every
that's like
3
a
months.
good amount. That's how you know you're close friends. 4 times a year?
Yeah.
It's quite good.
Wow.
Do you have a top 3 best travel in Japan, or a top 1, the one you prefer?
Oh, this is good. We're going to have very different answers, I think. My favorite place in Japan is the first place I lived, Kochi. It's a really good place to travel if you can rent a car. It's super off the beaten path, and people are so friendly there. Like, you'll make so many friends when you're just like wandering around being a tourist there. They like love tourists there. There's a lot of like gorgeous nature spots. Like they have the bluest river in all of Japan and the bluest waterfall. They have so many waterfalls that are so good. They have Shikoku Karst, which is like a beautiful, interesting landscape with a bunch of limestones and cows. The cows are part of it.
Awesome.
If you like nature and you want to see like Japan nature countryside, That's a really good place. There's a lot to do there. They have a lot of crafts. Like they're famous for like knife making and paper making. You can take workshops. They're also famous for yuzu. You can go to a yuzu farm. They have like gorgeous gardens. They have the most beautiful botanical garden I've ever been to in my life. They also have a garden that's actually a sister garden with France, with the Giverny, like Monet garden. They have a sister garden.
Close from my place in France.
Yeah. And it's amazing. It's just like a copycat. They like copied and pasted. It's really cool. And if you get a ticket to that garden, you get in the actual one in France for free, because the tickets, like, they have like an agreement. It's a very off the beaten path, hidden gem. It's a place you'll experience like the real Japan. So that's my top one. Maybe you should give your top one next, and I'll think of my second one.
Oh, that's hard. I don't travel as much as Amber does. I mostly stay within Tokyo. But I would say my favorite place around Tokyo is Mount Takao. I love the mountain that they have there. It's really nice. And at the top of the mountain, they have like a shrine. And they also have this really good tengu, like taiyaki. Tenguyaki. Very good. It's made with, what is it, like anko, but it's black. And you can only get it at the top of this mountain.
Oh, wow.
And it is so good. Like, if you want to, you should go try it out. And it's kind of near Tokyo, and it's a really nice, like, day trip. So, and they also have an onsen, too, which is nice.
Okay, my next favorite spot is Kyoto, but not the Kyoto you're thinking of. It's Amano Hashidate and Ine. Have you heard of it?
I think Ine, but I've never been there.
You've heard of it.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time on there.
So it's one of the three called the zekkei spots in Japanese. What do you call it in English? Anyway, it's one of the top three like views in Japan, and it's just really cool. It's another off the beaten path spot. It's about 2 hours away from Kyoto City, where like all of the actual like tourism is going on. So it'll be a much quieter area, and it's by the ocean. And there's an old village there in Ine that's like on the ocean, and the ocean is so blue there, and like there's all these old houses surrounding the water. It's just like an incredible sight, and there's just a lot of tourism cute things to do there too. It's just like a fun and beautiful. The temple's beautiful there. They have a cute omikuji that's like in the shape of a fan. There's cats at the temple.
Looks lovely.
So yeah, that's my number 2. What about you?
My number 2 is also near Tokyo, kind of. It's a little bit out. It's a little out of Tokyo. It's in Saitama. I travel a lot within Tokyo and around Tokyo. I take a lot of like day trips.
Yeah, it's convenient.
Yeah. And so, like, one of my favorites is Kawagoe, because it's, like, traditional Japan. It's almost like a small Kyoto in a way. Like, it has a lot of the same shops. And it's just really pretty. They have, like, the really cool buildings. And they have, like, a lot of shrines there. And it's just, like, a really nice atmosphere.
Okay, my number 3 is Hiroshima.
Ah, yeah.
Hiroshima is great. And my favorite place in Hiroshima is Miyajima. So the place with the deer, and they have the shrine, the torii gate that's like floating in the water. So I have to go back there because I went there during COVID and the gate was under construction. Like you couldn't see it at all. So I have to go back there. But an insanely gorgeous shrine, one of the most beautiful ones I've ever seen at all. So I have to go back there. But the shrine is called Utsukushima Jinja, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just an insanely gorgeous shrine, one of the most beautiful ones I've ever seen. And yeah, it's almost like a little Kyoto. Like they have the old buildings, and there's the deer there, like Nara. The deer ate my map when I was there. Be careful, beware of the deer. They're not afraid of you. I was literally reading a map, and it just like came and took it and ate it. It's like, you shouldn't eat that.
They're dangerous, right?
They're dangerous. Yeah, and it's not just Miyajima. There's like actual Hiroshima City where you can like go see the aftermath of like the atomic bomb, which is like just a really emotional spot. It's really profound, and I recommend going to see it. And there's also I forget the name of this other city, but there's this really cute seaside city. It's the Shimanani Kaido. It's the first stop on Shimanani Kaido, and it's this cute little seaside town. Yeah, there's a lot of places like that in Hiroshima, so that would be my number 3.
I want to go to all the places Amber suggested.
Me too.
I often just take day trips. I was going to say Nara, but I'm going to stick with my theme of day trips from Tokyo. My third one, I'm committing. The third one is Chichibu. I love Chichibu. It's only like an hour from Tokyo, and you can take a special express train there. And they have like a lot of different hiking areas. It's very beautiful in the fall. It's also what inspired like the town of Chichibu, or like the area. You can see like many spots from an anime called Anohana. Yeah, you know?
Yeah,
I love Anohana. It's but yeah, so it's really nice. They have a lot of good things. My favorite thing there is the miso potato though. You have to go there and try. It's so freaking good. Yes.
I just remembered the seaside town in Hiroshima. It's Onomichi.
Onomichi.
Thank you so much. Now I have a lot of ideas. Last question. But do you have a good experience with Japanese people that you remember a lot? I think you have a tons of, I guess. But do you have one that you would like to share with us?
Okay, so when I was living in Kochi, there's not a lot of foreigners there. So when you go there as a foreigner, people assume you live there and they just start speaking to you in Japanese, which is kind of refreshing that you don't get treated like a tourist. You get treated like someone who lives there. And there was this one shop that we went in. It was a little cafe and it was like so cute. They had like matcha and wagashi. It was all like wooden inside and beautiful. And there was this Oba-chan there who was like running the whole thing by herself. And when we ordered in Japanese and she realized we could speak Japanese, she started talking to us. And we had like this long conversation and she was like, I'm so happy that you came like to this part of Japan. Like, thank you so much. And she like was like, your food is on me. And we were like, what? No, we want to support your cafe. And she gave us all of them. She refused. She like wouldn't let us pay. And then she also gave us these like little good luck dolls. And like, she was like, here's a gift for you. And she like just gave us.
Adorable.
It was just really cute and nice and welcoming. And just, I feel like speaks a lot to like the Japanese hospitality.
Right. I agree. Sometimes you think in the countryside it might be hard, right? With the language, or they might be scared of you, but I had a lot of good experience too.
All my best experiences are in the countryside. People are so nice and so warm.
For me, when I first came to Japan, I was studying Japanese and I didn't really know any Japanese. I only knew like greetings. So I went to this Japanese class at a community center. We were just like practicing one of the words, which was like something ga hoshi, like I want something. And so like we would all add like the things that we want. I want money. I want a girlfriend. And I was like, I want a kotatsu. And one of the older Japanese ladies was like, huh? You want a kotatsu? Kotatsu is like a table that like warms you. It's very Japanese, like very Japanese home decor. Maybe they'll put something. But basically, like I really wanted one to like experience the Japanese culture of it. And I was like, yeah, I want a kotatsu. And like, we could not really communicate because I didn't know any Japanese and she didn't really know any English. But she was like, okay, I have a kotatsu for you. Yeah. And I'm like, oh no, like I don't want, it's okay. No. She's like, no, I have one. And she
was ready to give you.
Yeah, she brought me a kotatsu to my house. Yeah, because I lived near the area, and she brought a kotatsu to my house, and I was trying to like pay her back or like give her something in return. She's like, no, don't pay me. Like, this is a gift for you. Like, I don't need it. I don't want it. I need it out of my house. Are you sure?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really, really nice, and it was really sweet.
It's really sweet. Do you have any goal for the future? It can be something small or big. For example, I still didn't wear kimono so far, so it's one of my little goals. But do you have one goal?
Yes, my big goal is to grow my social media. But besides that, my small, I don't know if it's small, it's like medium-sized goal. Can we do medium goals? Is to get my Japanese driver's license, which I've been putting off for literally 4 years. So I have a driver's license in New York, and with New York, you're able to change it. So I don't have to take the driving course. I do have to take the test, and I'm so scared. I have to take the driving test and the paper test. So I'm so scared to do both of those things. But this year, 2025, is the year that I can drive and I get my driving freedom back. So
Can do it.
learn how to take the test, practice taking the test before I get the license. But it's very difficult. They make you go on a paperwork quest. You have to get like all these documents from all different places. You have to order them, submit them, translate things. I finally collected all the documents. Now I just have to I finished that quest. It's like a video game. Like you get to this point and you can get to the next point and then you get... So that's my mission for this year.
My mission for this year is to collaborate with a brand to go on a brand trip. That is my goal.
I'm so happy because my hobby is traveling in Japan, and it's such an expensive hobby. So now that I can like get paid to do it, it's been a game changer, and it's made my life a lot better. And yeah, I highly recommend it.
It's my goal. If anyone watching this wants to,
you're getting
can
there.
reach out to me, you know. But yeah,
I'm sure you're gonna achieve it.
thank you.
Thank you. And it's a good conclusion too. I really recommend people to watch your both social media. You are doing such an amazing work, and Amber has the best travel tips and videos, and also the best combini hacks.
No.
But not only. So yeah.
Money saving hack.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I do a lot of budget stuff, you know, if you live in Japan.
So please check both social media. I will link everything below. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having us.